Hey, Marcus House with you here, and although it is a time of rest and holidays for so many, SpaceX has not been sitting around just taking a break. This year is estimated to be SpaceX's busiest year so far, and this month alone is going to be incredible. We have the Crew Dragon In-Flight Abort Test. We also have SpaceX's awesome new animation of the Crew Dragon mission. We have Starship updates with Elon Musk having recently been at Boca Chica with the engineering crew, and it's looking very much here like the new Starship is about to begin stacking with some awesome new footage from Boca Chica Gal and NASA spaceflight. Starlink's next mission is just about to fly, potentially with another 2 more Starlink missions in the first month of the year. So yes, this year is already ramping up to be incredible. So yes, let's get stuck into it.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
In the first half of the year, SpaceX are predicted to be demonstrating Crew Dragon's ability to safely and reliably launch astronauts to the International Space Station from the United States. This is something that has not been possible since the Space Shuttle last launched back in July of 2011. This July will be 9 years since the United States have been relying only on the Russian Soyuz vehicle to send American astronauts to the International Space Station. Soon, however, SpaceX will be taking the reins along with Boeing's Starliner and allowing the United States to again take control of their own launch schedules. Over the last week or so, SpaceX dropped an incredible new Crew Dragon animation. I've got to say, this is certainly one of the best animated videos I've seen from SpaceX so far. The level of detail here is just incredible. The video kicks off with astronauts heading to the Falcon 9, and right at the start we see an astronaut hop out of what I think we can all assume is a Tesla Model X. The iconic Model X Falcon wing door opening up here is, I think, a bit of a giveaway there. Of course, we see a lot of shots of the Falcon 9 rocket itself. If you don't know a great deal about the Falcon 9, there are obviously loads of videos out there that explain this incredible rocket in detail. It's of course the only orbital class rocket in the world that re-lands its booster, which SpaceX have now been doing since December of 2015. And this allows them to refly the bulk of this amazing rocket multiple times rather than it being completely expendable like all other orbital class rockets that are currently flying. This is why the Falcon 9 is a game changer and why it's so exciting to see SpaceX's first crewed flight coming up very soon. One of the shots I really love at the start of the animation video is the awesome new space age walkway, which was of course demonstrated at Pad 39A last year with Crew Dragon's Demo 1 flight. In comparison, this is the real walkway and sped up footage of the walkway moving into place. It's going to be amazing to see the crew walking out here for the real mission coming this year. Now, we see a lot of shots of the SpaceX suit, which still looks very similar to what we saw in the real Crew Dragon Demo 1 flight. This mission was a completely autonomous flight with no astronauts on board, but they did send up Ripley here, who was essentially a test dummy wearing the suit while being packed full of sensors. The first astronauts scheduled to make the real flight are Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, who first tested the new suits back in 2018 themselves. This footage of the docking itself is just beautiful as well, but saying that, nothing can really beat the real footage from last year's mission. This footage of Crew Dragon undocking and floating away was just incredible. So the new animation video finishes off with a Crew Dragon re-entering the atmosphere and deploying its 4 recently upgraded Mark III parachutes. Just before splashdown, we can see a ship awaiting the capsule in the ocean, which looks to be very similar, if not the same, Go Searcher vessel which we saw on the Demo 1 mission as well. So yes, a beautiful new animation to get everyone excited about the upcoming crewed mission. Now, it was expected this mission would only be a few months away, but Elon tweeted last week saying that it will be likely at least 4 months or so until this mission will actually take place. That was a little further away than what we had expected, but at the same time, I'm happy SpaceX and NASA are running all the precautionary tests they can to ensure the highest level of safety for the astronauts. Given the success of the Crew Dragon's Demo 1 mission, this is shaping up to be an incredible milestone, and I think it's going to be interesting to see when the crewed Starliner launch will be in comparison. Which mission do you think we'll see fly first? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you're interested in more information and footage on the Demo 1 flight, I have a video here and it's also popping up in the top right. If you want to keep up to date with everything going on in the space industry, please do consider subscribing to the channel. There's loads to keep up to date with right now with Starship development, Starlink and Crew Dragon progress, and I'd love to share all that with you. Now, before the crewed mission can take place, SpaceX must first complete a successful in-flight abort test of the Crew Dragon spacecraft. This launch is currently scheduled in around January 11th. Now, that's less than 1 week away now, and the launch will be lifting off from Launch Complex 39A at the Kennedy Space Center. And what is going to happen in this mission is going to be super exciting to watch. As part of the test, SpaceX will be intentionally triggering a launch escape of the Crew Dragon vessel shortly after liftoff, which will allow SpaceX to demonstrate the new capsule's ability to not only safely separate and escape from the Falcon 9 booster in the unlikely event of an in-flight emergency, but it will also provide new data for NASA to certify SpaceX's Crew Dragon for the human-rated flights to and from the International Space Station. This is one of the final major tests for SpaceX before NASA astronauts will fly on the Crew Dragon vehicle. Over to Boca Chica now with the latest information about the development of the Starship. Boca Chica gal with NASA spaceflight has just captured this incredible footage showing what we believe to be preparations for stacking for the new Starship, with rings and bulkheads being moved in near the massive windbreak structure. It's looking very much here like the new SN1 Starship is about to begin stacking, and I think this is going to kick off super quickly. Now, if you're not subscribed to NASA spaceflight on YouTube, go do that right now because this great footage is dropping all the time. I've got a link in the description as well. Outside of this, the main talk throughout the week has been about the new domes. Elon Musk had a full-on Twitter conversation with Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, during the week, saying that he was up all night with the SpaceX team working on the Starship tank dome production. Elon said that this has been pretty much the most difficult part of the primary structure. Interestingly, Elon also said that this was using techniques almost completely different from the previous domes we've seen constructed with the earlier versions of the Starship prototypes. These parts are stamped as opposed to being manually bump formed and then are tip-TIG welded versus the previous flux core welding. Now, I've basically no knowledge about welding, but the tip-TIG welding, Elon claims, is resulting in higher precision, stronger joints, and is resulting in a 20% mass reduction. He then went on to tweet that better still would be an autogenous laser weld, but they will need to be more precise parts and fixtures, which will hopefully get done sometime this year. From my understanding, this essentially means that the welds would be joined without the addition of extra materials, which would reduce even more mass. The new undercover structure now looks largely complete, so we're likely to be seeing less detail going on from the outside. Elon also mentioned that SpaceX will be moving to an enclosed cleanroom environment for the Starship with serial number 2 in January. Now, the next version of the Starship currently under construction is known now as SN1 or serial number 1 rather than the Mark III, which is what we've been using as terminology for quite some time. Elon also said here that this decision is largely due to wind issues that have made the welding more difficult than it should be. So yes, I think we're going to see Starship development ramp up quickly with all of this news. Now, a quick shout out to Gravitation Innovation, who dropped this amazing rendering of a potential future Starship. This one just blew my mind with super intricate detail in the heat shield and windowed areas. If you want to download this as wallpaper or support the work from the shop section of the site, there's a link in the description, and I highly recommend also following the account on Twitter here appearing on screen. Now, early this week, SpaceX is scheduled to perform its first launch of 2020. This is the third set of 60 Starlink satellites that is heading to orbit. Now, amazingly, there are supposedly 2 more Starlink missions as well as the Inflight Abort Test that SpaceX are potentially going to cram into this very month. And this comes off the back of a comparatively slow year for SpaceX launches in 2019. There were only 13 launches last year, which is a massive decrease in the 21 launches for SpaceX in 2018. This This year though, I think we're going to see the Starlink broadband network become a primary pillar of the launch schedule. Remember back in September, Gwen Shotwell said that SpaceX plans to launch as many as 24 Starlink missions this year, and that will put enough satellites into the constellation to make the network economically viable. At the same time, the Starlink network is one of the most controversial topics out there right now, with many mistaking the satellite trains going through the sky for UFOs. And of course, we've seen quite a lot of backlash from various communities around the world worried about losing a pristine night sky to such networks. To assist here though, one satellite in the next batch of 60 is going to include an anti-reflective coating that is designed to not interfere with the night sky like the previous Starlink satellites. This is great news for astronomers. What I'm also interested in right now is the finer details about such an upcoming service offering from a consumer point of view. What will be the cost of the access and what will be the availability to users initially? What will the terminal to hook up to the network look like for the consumer? There should be details like this being released soon to begin promoting the network. So what do you think about Starlink? Are you looking forward to this service becoming active? Have you heard or read any local details on the consumer equipment that I may have missed? Let me know in the comments below. Now, although I typically only cover space-related topics, I've just got to mention Tesla for how it has rounded off 2019. By the looks of the figures, Tesla may well have broken its sales record by a huge margin. Over the course of the year, Tesla looks to have delivered around 367,000 vehicles, which is roughly 50% more than delivered in 2018. More, I think, than both 2017 and 2018 combined. And wow, the Tesla share price sure is showing some huge confidence to go along with this. Now, this is hugely exciting to me, and with the first Chinese-made Model 3s delivered just recently, the success of Tesla this coming year is, I think, going to be massive. In my mind, this has very quickly become the future, and that future is accelerating forwards, just like we see with SpaceX. So yes, congratulations to Tesla, Elon Musk, and everyone involved in that amazing success story. Between SpaceX, Tesla, and the Boring Company, we are heading towards a very exciting future. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do take a second and hit that like button. A huge thank you, as always, to my quality control squad here for helping me research and proof the material for these videos. If you're interested in these topics and would like to be part of this, follow my Discord or Twitter link in the description, and please do get in touch. In the title in the bottom left today, we have my compilation video talking about the most amazing achievements from the space industry in 2019. What do you think? Did I miss anything here? Let me know in the comments of that video. In the top right is my latest video, and in the bottom right, a video that YouTube has selected from my channel just for you. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.